Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panelists and honored guests, good morning. I am Mehmet Onur Partal, Director at the Finance Office of the Presidency of the Republic of Türkiye. I'm deeply honored to stand before you today as the moderator of this distinguished panel on global financial centers. In an era of unprecedented connectivity, rapid technological advancement, and ever-evolving economic landscapes, the role of global financial centers has never been more vital or complex as today. Global financial centers are the beating hearts of the world economy, where trillions of dollars flow, investments are made, and financial decisions shape the course of nations. They are the nerve centers of innovation, the architects of economic progress, and the stewards of prosperity. Today, we convene to explore the multifaceted dimensions of these hubs of global finance and to understand their past, presence, and anticipate their future. As we delve into this important discussion, I encourage our panelists to share their insights, knowledge, and experiences openly and candidly. Together, we seek to address the fundamental questions and challenges that define the landscape of global financial centers through sustainability and resilience perspective. Throughout our dialogue, we will explore overview of these global financial centers, adapting to change, competition and collaboration, innovation and resilience, inclusivity and sustainability, navigating geopolitical challenges, future prospects. So in this gathering of diverse expertise and perspectives, we aim to foster a rich and enlightening conversation that transcends borders, industries, and disciplines. Our goal is to gain a deeper understanding of the critical role played by global financial centers in today's interconnected world and to chart a course for their continued success and contribution to global prosperity. Now, before proceeding to the speeches, I would like to hand in the microphone to our speakers to introduce themselves. Aigul, we can start with you because I want them to introduce themselves. If you have different hats, also you can emphasize them as well.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aigul, and I represent Astana International Financial Center today. And as it was mentioned, yes, I'm wearing a couple of hats, and maybe I'll just tell that. So I've been working on green and sustainable finance since 2016, and I was a part of AIFC Green Finance Center, which was the behind development of the sustainable finance market in Kazakhstan and the region of Central Asia. And I also represent Green Investment Principles for BRI, which is a Beijing, London-led network for institutions interested in investing in green projects along the Belt and Road. So I was supporting this effort in the region of Central Asia within our network, and I also represent the AIFC authority. So there are like a number of institutions I represent in here, but basically the main role is to provide this support to the policy and development of the market in the region of Central Asia and Kazakhstan in terms of sustainable finance.
Thank you, Aigul. Dear Dr. Serkan Yüksel, the floor is yours for your introduction.
First of all, I would like to thank all organizers for the Marmara Urban Forum. It's my pleasure to be part of this big forum. I here represent Finance Office of the Presidency of the Turkish Republic. I'm Serkan Yüksel. I'm the head of the Istanbul Financial Center Department. Maybe you already know, but who does not know, we can summarize that. With the first decade of the presidential system, the Finance Office has been established, and one of our main duties of the office is to run the Istanbul Financial Center project. Right now, we have a law, Istanbul Financial Center law, and according to that law, Finance Office of the Presidency is responsible for giving participation documents for potential financial players of the Istanbul Financial Center. And secondly, we are running the one-stop bureau, which is going to be VIP services for international financial players. And we are all expecting the international financial agents to be part of the Istanbul Finance Center. And I'll be defining or explaining more detailed sustainability in our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabriella, please introduce yourself.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for inviting us. So I come from Malta. I'm representing Finance Malta. Finance Malta is the promoter of the Maltese financial services. My role there is mainly to support them with sustainable finance. So I also work in the private sector. I'm also a visiting lecturer at the University of Malta. And my area of specialization is climate finance, so that is one of the main areas we're focusing on. And it falls under the umbrella of sustainable finance, and hopefully we will be promoting this even further and making new collaborations and partnerships with other financial institutions and centers.
Dear Marco Sorge, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marco Sorge. I represent the International Finance Corporation, a member of the World Bank Group. We have a double role. On one hand, we have an advisory role to help governments around the world to develop policies, institutions, including also global financial centers, and green finance. On the other hand, we are also investors, and we mobilize, so we bring with us other investors to increase the liquidity and the success of such institutions in the finance world.
I would like to thank you all for your introduction. Now, I invite our panelists to share their wisdom, our audience to engage in thoughtful dialogue, and all of us to collectively explore the intricate tapestry of global financial centers. By the end of our discussion, I hope we will have shed light on the complexities, challenges, and opportunities that define these financial hubs, leaving us with a clearer vision of their role in shaping the world economy. So thank you for joining us today, and without further ado, let us commence this enlightening journey into the heart of global finance. So please, Aigul, Kazakhstan is by far the most developed country in Central Asia, and you are the managing director of the Green Finance Center in Astana International Finance Center. Could you please share your views through sustainability and green finance perspective? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you one more time to organizing for having me here today. And I'm very much delighted to share the experience of AFC with our colleagues here. And we had a discussion yesterday about the experience of setting up the financial center from the scratch and actually setting up the agenda for green finance. So basically, Astana International Financial Center is a separate jurisdiction within the city of Astana, and it's based on the common law, on English common law, and the practices of international financial centers. So basically, I want to think you about AFC as a country within a country, because it's a separate jurisdiction with its own regulator, which is divided from the main regulator in Kazakhstan. We also have our own court and arbitration center, which is actually working on those disputes which may arise within the financial center members. And we also have our own organizations which are supporting different, let's say, parts of the market. And basically, it's all about capital market. So main goal of setting up the financial center for the government was to develop the capital market. And in fact, when the financial center was setting up, it was set up through the special constitutional law. So basically, there is a separate law which was designed to, guide the main directions of the financial center in its development and basically provide the legislation basis for it to operate. So we also provide special, let's say, tax treatment or, let's say, benefits for the members who are registering with the AFC. You might see that there are already quite relatively low, let's say, tax environment in Kazakhstan. We are supplementing that with our extra tax benefits for the companies registering with us. And according to the constitutional law, which sets up the main directions for the financial center, it was always defined as basically the capital market, Islamic finance, the financial technologies, and green finance was set up as a main priority for the financial center for its development going forward. And I've been working on this topic as a part of the AFC team since 2016. And basically what we did since then, we set up the policy framework in the country, supporting both the government of Kazakhstan and also the AFC itself, the separate financial center, in developing the market from the scratch. So Today, I want to talk from perspective of the Green Finance Center, which was set up to develop this policy, to develop the market, and support the development in general of the capital, green, let's say, green or sustainable capital market in Kazakhstan. So Green Finance Center is the only company in Central Asia accredited by ICMA and Climate Bonds Initiative to provide the external review. So basically we do wear two hats, let's say. We do this policy framework supporting the government, but at the same time we provide commercial services in the absence of the market players who could support the issuers of green and sustainable bonds. And as of now, like around 70, almost 70% of all the green bonds and loans in Kazakhstan were verified by our center. And I want to stop more on this slide, which basically provides the overview of what we are doing in Kazakhstan and what's been done so far. So when we look at green finance or sustainable finance market, we look at from the perspective of four main priorities we're working on. So first of all is the standards. So as you may know, for any particular market to be developed, you need to have the rules in place so the market players can understand what is right to do, what is not. And I'm sure most of you, maybe you heard of the concept of taxonomies. So basically standard providing what is green and what is not, and helping to avoid the greenwashing. So we've been working on the green taxonomy of Kazakhstan since 2019, and it was adopted in December 2021 with the support of our partners from Climate Bonds Initiative and from our Chinese colleagues who are actually driving this green finance agenda in the international markets. So we also developed and provided, let's say, support to our stock exchange in Astana to have these special green bond rules to support the market. Right now, they did upgraded the rules to cover all the ESG bonds. So basically, right now, you can go to our stock exchange in Astana, you can issue these thematic bonds, and we'll be there to support you along the journey. And also there is a regulator in Kazakhstan. So as I mentioned, AFC is a separate jurisdiction, and we have the Kazakh legislation as well. So we as the Green Finance Center provide support not only to the AFC jurisdiction, but we also provide the support to the main government of Kazakhstan, including the main regulator. So we've been working with the regulator to have these guidelines and reporting, let's say, standards for the banks and institutions registered within the Kazakh jurisdiction. And if we talk about the incentives, you always have to have them in the place so those issuers of green bonds, they know that if they go to the market, they have something which will help them to reduce their costs. So along with the standard, along with the green taxonomy, we've been working on subsidy scheme for the issuers of green bonds. And we have this program in place, which is providing the subsidy to the issuers, small and medium enterprises issuing green bonds. And basically, it covers up to 50% of the interest rate and coupon payment of green bonds. And if we talk about the products, so that's another point where the market developers should be concentrating, because you need to provide different options. So the issuer goes to the market, so what can he do, right? So right now, Kazakhstan has a lot of issues of green and social bonds. So those are like two main instruments our market players are going to. But at the same time, we're working on different new instruments, such as sustainability-linked bonds. And for those countries, let's say emerging economies, which heavily relies on fossil fuels, it's quite difficult to issue green bond because you don't have this, let's say, clear asset. But if you have these energy assets which should be transitioning, let's say, to green economy, then the SLB, sustainability-linked bond, is the instrument for you to go for. So currently, we do have the green bonds, we have the social bonds in the market, but we also work on transition instruments to support those issuers who wants to enter this market, but they don't have the readily available instruments for them. And disclosure is another part which helps to drive the market, because when you have the information, when it's disclosed, you can understand what is going on and where you can enter, right? And we have these disclosure guidelines at our stock exchange, so ESG disclosure, which was developed a couple of years ago. And we also have these mandatory disclosure guidelines at KASE, at another stock exchange in Kazakhstan. And also the financial regulator within the jurisdiction of Kazakhstan just recently introduced these ESG disclosure guidelines, which is mandatory for the banks to report back starting next year. So if you look at this slide, basically we try to put all these efforts we're doing to develop the market based on these four main cornerstones. And I would urge anyone who is trying to kind of, develop thematic bonds market, or let's say thematic overall capital market, to concentrate on these four main things. Because when you have the standard clarifying what is right, what is not, when you have the incentives to support the market players, and you have these disclosure guidelines, you have those main elements which will basically help you to build the market from the scratch. I can tell you from my experience, because when we started in 2016, there was nothing in Kazakhstan regarding the thematic capital market. There was no bond, no standard, nothing. We've been working hard to have these things in place, and the first green bond of Kazakhstan was issued in 2020. So it basically took us 4 years, to get to the point when you have this first issuance. And I think you can see on this slide the current stand of the market in Kazakhstan. So it's around $500 million US dollars, and you can see the breakdown of the instruments which are being issued and who are the main issuers. So as of now, the most issuers in the market are financial institutions, development institutions, and we do have some of the state-owned enterprises issuing the green bonds. Maybe I just want to stop on my other couple of slides, because I see that time is running. So our main priority for us as of now is to support the country's goal to get to the carbon neutrality by 2060. So what does it mean for us? Basically, just recently the government adopted the strategy on carbon neutrality, and the estimates is that we need around $600 billion US dollars to get to that point by 2060. And if you look at the previous slide, you can see that the current market is $500 million. And you might see the difference, right, between this $500 million and $600 billion you need to get there. And according to the estimates, around $10 billion of US dollars should be in new investment, which we need until 2030. So basically what we're gonna concentrate going forward is to help to boost this investment, to get this investment to be, going this direction, to help the economy to get there. And maybe just one more slide here, since we're in Turkey, in the heart of Turkish world. I just want to mention that we're also leading this effort on establishing the Green Finance Council under the Turkey Council. And as of now, there are the following members who are interested to join this council. And it's a kind of way, actually, to support each other, in efforts to build the similar markets in every available way. So I think that's all from me, and maybe I'll be able to answer some other questions, because we're also working in social finance and social taxonomy and that other things which I will not have time to explain now maybe, but anytime later maybe within the question and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aigul, for this enlightening presentation and speech. So I would like to continue with Istanbul. Dr. Serkan Yüksel, thank you for being here. You have taken part in Istanbul Financial Center's journey from the beginning all the way from 2008-09. So you know Istanbul Financial Center very well, and you are the head of this Istanbul Financial Center department. Could you please brief us about Istanbul Financial Center, its components, the anticipated ecosystem, and its physical features through a smart, sustainable city perspective? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Onur Bey. You are not also unfamiliar with the stuff since you're a manager in our department. So, first of all, when you're talking about Istanbul Financial Center, I think first we need to understand that Istanbul is the urban heart of the Turkey. Istanbul is not just the heart of the Turkey, as a matter of fact. Napoleon once said, if the world was a country, its capital would be in Istanbul. It's been the capital city of the three emperorship. So it's already a geographical hub, Istanbul. And so I would like to briefly give some facts about Istanbul, the numbers who are not familiar. It's estimated to be there is 16 million inhabitants in Istanbul city, in the central zone. And it's creating nearly 250 billion US dollar GDP just by Istanbul itself. So GDP per capita in Istanbul over the 15K, hence it's economically already has been grown city. It has its heritage coming from the economic and financial roots. On top of that, Istanbul is really connected city. Maybe you heard this many times, in the 4-hour flight zone, you can reach to more than 121 countries with a direct flight. You can access the 1.3 billion people which reaching to 26 trillion market value business. In 4-hour flights radius, you can reach to many different destinations from different continents, and its labor and talent capacity is huge. I mean, there is in many reports in World Bank, the world age is getting older. It's becoming a problem for whole countries. But for Turkey, still the median age is below 35, it's 32. And the same thing applies to Istanbul. And also, 71% of the population is still in the labor pool. So for the human resources, Istanbul has a huge potential. And also, there are 8.3 million students enrolled to universities, and from those students, more than 1.3 million students are enrolled in Istanbul universities. So it's at the crossroads of the world. According to World Bank Doing Business Index, it's rising up. So there's a huge business variety in Istanbul. It's also becoming an important aspect for financial development of the Istanbul Financial Center at the same time. This is the general summary facts about Istanbul before we jump to the Istanbul Financial Center. So Istanbul Financial Center has been a long process, as a matter of fact. It started year 2008, but after the presidential system in 2018, the Finance Office is responsible to run the Istanbul Financial Center project. Our main goal was to create a financial hub which is sustainable with development plans. And for those development plans, we have two main goals. As we can say, it grows up on two aspects. One of them is technology. As you know, technology can have a hazardous effect on the finance, because technology is changing everything. Everybody is using the mobile banking and vice versa. Hence, the financial technologies is changing the finance general context. At the same time, after the 2008 crisis, we have understood that any finance is access to what has been produced or what's been traded can be hazardous to general economic equilibriums. Hence, making a finance based on the assets, so asset-based finance is becoming really important. So we think participation finance is also one of the main pillars of Istanbul Financial Centers. I'll just briefly mention what we have physically. We have 3 districts. First districts will have Borsa Istanbul, Takas Istanbul, Central Depository Agency, and Turkish Sigorta will be there. Turkish Wealth Fund will be there. In the second district will be, which has been already opened by our president himself, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Ziraat Bank, Halk Bank, Vakıf Bank, and İş Bank will be there. And the third district will include Turkish Wealth Fund's running facilities like the big shopping mall, Congress Center. So basically what we have is here with the 3 districts. And this physical construction is a smart place. It has been based on the sustainable finance. We have near 1.4 million meters square offices to be rented, and it's environmental friendly or place. It is a LEED Gold certificate for sustainable development. So in an urbanization process, that cluster zone is also made on with the green construction. Let me touch upon the organizational structure. So as I said before, there is a Turkish Wealth Funds Istanbul Financial Center agency. That agency will be running administrative stuff like leasing, facility management, promotion, and the communication will be sustained by the Turkish Wealth Fund. And Finance Office of the Presidency will be having the roles for the establishment, development, and also, given the participation documents, the licenses to be there will be given by the Finance Office. So we have that kind of division of labor here. There are, as Aigul mentioned, the financial centers has to offer some subsidies. In Istanbul Financial Center, we have the same subsidies. There is a 1% tax deduction Also up to 80% income tax deduction possible for the expats. Stamp duty tax will be exempted from the Istanbul Financial Center participants. And there are side benefits also at the same time. Let me just summarize them. And components of the Istanbul Financial Center will be going on online. So we will have Istanbul Financial Center portal, which will accept the applications over there. We are planning to create an academy. We are trying to make an arbitration center, which is only dealing with the financial concepts related to Istanbul Financial Center. One-stop bureau will be there. We are planning to create a financial technology hub there, which will have like regulatory sandbox, which has been already mentioned in National FinTech Strategy, which has been created by the Finance Office. And we also have the Participation Finance Strategy, and we are trying to make Istanbul Financial Center development with the sustainable finance, dealing with the financial activities that will include highly participation finance aspects. So we have an evaluation process to apply for participation documents. Finance Office will be giving there. There is a one-stop bureau. In that one-stop bureau, there is going to be Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Ministry of Environment, Organization and Climate Change, Ministry of Treasury and Finance will be there, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Trade, also the local government bodies like Municipality of Ümraniye will be also giving the services. As you may already know, this service has been given in Turkey generally, but this service will be a VIP service, so you're gonna get fast, accurate, and efficient service there. So this has been created by Istanbul Financial Center law. So for our financial center, we have its own law. So we are getting the power of the legislative structure in our financial center. Let me briefly mention the IFC portal. You make the applications, you can track your application status. It's creating a database to make the financial innovation better. Pathway to IFC goes through this online services portal. So in this ecosystem, we are going to accept the private sector, like the financial companies, but it's not limited to financial companies. For example, the sustainable finance, also the changing climate change has been an important topic. So energy sources is becoming hot topic in general. So we are planning to create an energy base also there. So we are also welcome the non-financial companies there who are strategically eligible to develop the financial innovation. We are also welcoming the non-profit organizations like NGOs, professional associations, and international organizations. So these are the general pictures of the Istanbul Financial Center. So construction in the second zone has been already completed. First phase is about to finish, and the third will take a couple of months more. But this is basically what we have. And this is the picture when we completely finish the infrastructure. This is another view, potential view when we have finished all infrastructure developments. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, Dr. Serkan Yüksel, for this presentation. Dear Gabriella, Malta is a rising economy in the region, and we know Malta with its innovative and sustainable initiatives and measures. Could you tell us about your experience in Malta, connecting finance and sustainability? Plus, please share your thoughts about the recent event organized by Finance Malta on sustainability. The floor is yours.
So, thank you. So Malta, well, here we have another story because we are part of the EU. So when it comes to regulations, when it comes to standards, we have a driving force, and we have to follow what comes from the part of the EU. We have challenges as well there, as you know, I mean, these sustainable finance regulations and directives and the corporate social responsibility directive. We need to ensure that our system, financial services, our stakeholders are ready for this transition. So Malta has been an established international financial center for quite a number of years. And this is due to the policy makers, different governments that are always aligned with regard to the financial services. So they always agree that we need to keep on strengthening this industry. It is very important to us, to Malta, that we have strong financial services. Services are very important to us. We are an island, we're very small, so we're just 500,000 people, but we have a very good connection with not only the Mediterranean, but then we have the connections with Europeans. So I think as a country, we're quite connected, plus we have a very strategic position. So we leverage on that. Now, we are quite established with regard to standards, regulations. We have the Financial Services Authority. And there, what we do is we engage with the authority and make sure that if we are focusing on a particular sector, we have the regulation that helps, that guides us, and is specifically targeting that area. So we are considered to be the home for fintech. Apart from that, what I would like to share today is what we did recently with regard to our internal operations. So Finance Malta is the entity that promotes financial services in Malta. And since we are pushing sustainable finance, and sustainable finance is in a way the instrument to make the transition towards more sustainable cities, to whatever we need to transform to be sustainable and create long-term value. So we are encouraging our stakeholders to embrace this. So we thought we need to lead by example. And we organized a conference recently, the annual conference. And we decided that we planned the conference to be sustainable, engage with whoever's going to participate in the conference, so that we pass on the message that we need to start looking for different, things. We need to look and sort of think outside the box. So we engaged with stakeholders, we selected sustainable gifts. We also had a number of sessions dedicated to various themes, including green bonds, the path to net zero, and we also have had a session on the blue economy. So again, here we're talking about sustainable finance, and we are including different colors. In the end, we want to achieve the sustainable development goals, but Malta being an island, and we have always been very strong in the maritime services, I think that we also should look and promote the blue economy, as we need to embrace that as well and promote sustainable projects there. So we had a particular session focusing on the blue economy there. Apart from that, as I explained, the message was to engage with stakeholders. I think it's very important to understand that in order to create an ecosystem, we need to understand all the components of the system. And whenever we're doing anything, even drafting regulations or organizing conferences, we need to identify who the stakeholders are. In fact, recently we launched a strategy, and that is the result of different working groups from the different sectors within the financial services, such as capital markets, banking, investments, coming together and proposing new ideas. As although we are established as a financial center, we know that we have to deal with the new challenges and the changes that this environment is bringing to everyone. So these are just snapshots from the conference. It is more about passing on the message that although we are a financial center and that we have our, of course, responsibilities to ensure that we are abiding to the standards, our stakeholders are embracing this change, but also leading by example when it comes to our internal operations. As it is perhaps considered to be a very small action, but different small actions will ultimately bring on the change. So this is the main outcome that we wanted to achieve by promoting this when we organized the conference. Apart from that, perhaps I would like to explain what we are doing with regard to us as financial center when it comes to sustainable finance. So we have also a working group, and we consider that to be one of the horizontal enablers that would ultimately engage with the other working groups, as we believe that sustainability is part of everything. So if we're dealing with capital markets, with banking, with insurance. So at the moment, we're engaging with these stakeholders to see what would be the best for our country characteristics, because in the end, we did mention previously instruments. So what are the instruments that would be incentivizing for investors to use? And we have various. We can design different instruments. However, not everything would be suitable, especially for the local market. So we are small, as you can imagine, we have mostly SMEs. So we have to be careful that we leave no one behind and that we have a system that is working for everyone. Apart from that, since we are a service-based economy, it's important that we create the right, the optimal ecosystem so that we attract investors who want to be part of this sustainability journey. So at the moment, we are working on this strategy to strengthen our position. We have fintech, which is already a strong sector for us, and sustainable finance will be the one taking us even further in this journey. So we need to transform not only our economy, but we know that we need to mobilize capital towards sustainable investment. And since Malta has always been a reputable jurisdiction and a safe jurisdiction to go to when it comes to financial services, we'd like to become even stronger then and attract even more investors towards sustainable finance. So we do believe that sustainability is important, and we need to think long term. We have various challenges ahead of us and a lot of changes coming through. So even we mentioned the digital transformation. Even there, we're working on that to always stay ahead of the curve. So my message here today is not only as the financial services, the stakeholders, of course, it's good that we have, the ecosystem there, but I think we should also, as centers, operators, we need to lead by example as well. So we start, implementing. In our case in Malta now, it's time to start implementing. We have the standards, we have the taxonomies, so that is already there, the infrastructure. It's time to start now measuring the outcome of all of this.
Thank you very much, Gabriella. Dear Marco, you are from the World Bank Group, IFC. So could you share your insights and knowledge about this green finance and investment, enlightening us on how can global financial centers promote and facilitate green finance and sustainable investment opportunities? What initiatives or instruments have you seen that are particularly effective in driving sustainable finance in financial centers? And in addition, you may add your perspective on regulatory and policy frameworks. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I would like to start with the premise. Nobody doubts anymore climate change. Even the skeptics really gotten the attention on climate change and the importance of sustainable finance. After what happened this summer with the floods in Italy, Slovenia, the hurricanes in the US, and the news about Swiss glaciers accelerating their melting, it's clear that this is coming, this was one of the hottest summers on record in many parts of the world. So climate change is really something that now for regulators has become, I would think, all over the world a priority. It has been for a long time for our institution, of course. And sustainable finance, therefore, as a channel to direct investors to do something about climate change, including through the development of global financial centers, is definitely the way to go. So we have seen efforts in many countries that we have participated ourselves. And I remember coming to see Aigul and colleagues in Astana, and we worked in Zagreb, also in Croatia, for example, to launch the first municipal green bond in the country. So although the infrastructure is there, is growing in many centers, and the instruments are becoming more known. What are the instruments? Well, maybe I can make a difference between, for those that are not familiar with the technicalities, the green bonds and the sustainability-linked bonds. So we particularly are trying to promote the sustainability-linked bonds, where the clients actually commit to some actions which are rewarded by some incentives. For example, the decrease in the interest payment that they have to make on the bond if they achieve certain KPIs, as we call them, so some milestones. For example, they could work towards reducing pollution or increasing their gender or improving on their corporate governance, any of the SDG goals that they want to, ESG goals that they want to target. That would be a sustainability linked. Social bonds have been mentioned. So there's a variety of instruments, but for us, and the platforms for issuing such instruments are growing, the taxonomy is there, the verifiers to kind of avoid greenwashing and everything, but what we find is that the demand is limited still in many countries. It's mostly governments or governmental, so state-owned companies, governmental institutions. The EU has its own case. It's all different, it has much more developed regulations in that sense in terms of incentives, but in much of the rest of the world, we found that investors really are looking for yield. So they don't really make a difference whether the bond is green or not. They would buy the bond that gives the highest yield. So there's still a lot of room to be covered, to change a bit mentality and understand that if you buy a green bond, yes, you could be willing to accept a lower yield than a normal bond because you're doing something good. Your money is going to be directed to a sustainable project, and somebody is going to verify that. So you're contributing to fight climate change so that you make a difference in the long term. So that's why we have also a difference in pricing. But this is not, so what we see is that there's a need also of a campaign, of a public campaign to make this clear to people, to incentivize people, to create demand. So the global financial centers, the infrastructure set up the supply in the sense that there is the platform there, the rules, the arbitration courts, the tax incentives, but the demand in most cases still has room to grow. This is a forum, as I understand, where many cities leaders and urban practitioners. So maybe I can spend a moment also to call on to talk about what's in it for the urban leaders, the cities. Cities, yes, are the host of financial centers. Yes, they benefit indirectly in terms of attracting investment. But at the same time, cities could invest themselves, finance themselves through the global financial centers and sustainable finance, because much of what cities, so metropolitan municipalities in Turkey or other big cities need money for is basic infrastructure, so transport, water, energy projects. There are very much green projects, and so they could be financed through the issuance of sustainable or social bonds. But we don't see that still happening. So most cases, metropolitan municipalities in Turkey, but also in the rest of the region, when they need money, they don't issue green bonds. In most cases, they don't issue bonds at all. There's been a few, Istanbul has pioneered this, Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, in issuing bonds. But for the rest of the country and the region, it's mostly access to banking market or directly using tax revenue coming from the central government. In Europe, there is much more experience in terms of accessing bond markets, but this is something that could be developed further. And what is needed is, of course, disclosure. So much more disclosure in terms of financial statements, in terms of governance, credit ratings, which are becoming more and more widespread. And in general, planning, I would say planning investments and really making the case to the general investors that cities are also capable of issuing bonds, of documenting how the money is spent and showing the complying with the taxonomy, having the bond verified, and reporting to investors on the results over time of how their money has been spent. So we in particular are trying to help cities access bond markets around the world, and in particular sustainable bond instruments. So if any of you also is interested if any city representatives are interested in being part of global financial standards as an issuer, as an investor, and attracting investments in their city, we can help. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marco. This was the end of the session about these presentations and speeches. So I would like to give the microphone to the audience. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask your questions. So there will be a microphone circulating in the room. So any questions from? Go ahead, please, madam. Microphone. Yeah, they're bringing.
Hello, my name is İlke Gürbüzar from UNHCR. I would like to thank you all for your valuable insights on this matter. And I would like to kindly ask Mr. Yüksel, where does IFFC stands when it comes to green building and using renewable energy resources and waste segregation and waste collection in IFFC, considering it is a recently established center and still in the building phase? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the question. So basically, infrastructure has been done by Istanbul Financial Center Anonym Company, which is run by Turkish Wealth Fund. So those buildings were made as a smart building. So they're going to they're going to complete the drains of the rainfall and rehydrate it and make it usable for plants and other sources. And secondly, there's going to be electric production. I kind of fast forwarded my presentation, so there was so much things for the smart building. So it has LEED Gold certificates in buildings. So which means they are going to be green buildings. They already have this application. Though, you know, previously, before Turkish World Fund was the sole owner of those buildings were doing by the construction companies, and their construction has been redesigned to make all the buildings green buildings. So they have applied for the gold LEED certificates. All the buildings will be smart, and also their transition and all the security services will be given under the efficiency of the green buildings.
Other questions? Yeah, on the back.
Hi everyone, my name is Aydın. I have also a question for Mr. Serkan. When you talk about financial centers, the global cities come to my mind.
Who are you asking the question, by the way?
Mr. Serkan.
Serkan.
Yes. And whole global cities, the London, New York, Tokyo, Singapore, all of them has a global city index. And all of them focus on their strong sides. Do you think that Istanbul needs an index or compared to other cities with Istanbul to emphasize the strong side of the city and also encourage the other global companies to invest to Istanbul, or they establish an office in Istanbul Financial Center? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe Mrs. Aigul also has something to say about it, because for all global financial centers, there is already an index that has been done by the private company. But when you're saying that if we should create an index by ourselves, it's going to be really subjective. So there are like international organizations doing that. As a matter of fact, there is an organization, World Alliance of International Financial Centers. In their yearly meeting, they were talking about creating an index for the financial centers, because there is one index going on that's been done by the private company. I mean, their method is really subjective, so we don't have a basis to index the financial centers, and their pillars has not been designed, and it's not really understandable. You are definitely right. In order to, gain the momentum, make the financial center, because, all the financial centers are speaking about the same thing: sustainability, financial technologies, Islamic finance, all participation finance. Maybe there are other topics, but in order to get the data from the public or the audience needs, indexation works in this way, right? Because if you are low in index, then indexing company will also guide you to make you better, right? But I don't think there is enough efforts on this issue. That's really a good point. But I think we need more collaboration between the financial centers in order to create such index.
I'll just add here that there is a Global Financial Centers Index and the Global Green Finance Index, which is actually measuring the, let's say, success or overall progress of the financial centers in, certain directions. And as far as I know, actually, Istanbul is part of this Global Financial Centers Index. And I'm not sure about the green finance one, but basically this is like the main international indexes where you can look actually into and see where, in which particular topics your financial center is doing very well and where it still needs to work more, maybe. And I was just, I think, discussing this earlier with a colleague from Malta regarding these financial centers for sustainability. So it's another network actually uniting all the financial centers working on sustainable finance. And what is quite useful for any member of the network is having this, personalized report, or let's say like feedback from the secretariat of the network on all the activities the financial center is taking regarding the sustainable finance. So how it works, we as a member of this network, every 2 years, we fill in the special questionnaire, providing the information about our activities on sustainable finance. And then the Secretariat actually works on comparing that data with the data of other financial centers and providing us personalized report, providing us overview where we're standing compared with other financial centers. And then you can kind of see, where you still need to work more and where you can share your experience. So I think that would be like the good instrument for financial centers to look, from the perspective of outsider at your own activities and see where you can work more.
I also would like to add some points about this. As Dr. Serkan, Yüksel, and Aigul just mentioned, these cities are ranked, but these cities cannot be comparable to each other because some cities are like the city itself, some are like cluster zones, some are established by a law, some are just naturally ongoing financial centers, and some are offshores, some are international, some are regional. So it's not that easy, and the questionnaires or the surveys which make up this index is also ambiguous. So it's like open-ended questions. It's not like pure data that are just collected from different entities. So it is, as I said, very subjective again. Over there, there's a question.
Thank you for your kindness. I would like to answer my colleague from the back row who asked the previous question. I have PhD on local governmental urban global city indexes. I would like to underline that there are many indexes around the world, and also our colleague asked about the existence of Turkish city indexes. We have one made by a Turkish university in Istanbul, Medeniyet University, Professor Lütfi Sunar has made such index who evaluates especially Turkish cities, weights and the weak and powerful sites, which called social data, social veri. You can check those information on that website, and it is active website. They all the time they add new information on that website. I'd like to make this contribution. Thank you.
I'm going to end the session in a few minutes, but before that, the last just points that I would like to take, especially about global collaborations. Just a few words about, for example, like Astana, Istanbul, or Malta, or maybe IFC. Could you just tell us about your experiences about just MOUs, global collaborations that you have had so far?
Oh, thank you. So basically, we do have quite a lot of collaboration with the Chinese counterparts since we're part of this Belt and Road Initiative, and we're also having a lot of collaboration with the institutions in Europe, taking into account that the sustainable finance market is quite developed in the EU. And we're also in touch with other financial institutions, let's say Casablanca Finance Center in Africa, which is also one of our main counterparts. And we also mentioned during the presentation the Turkey Council. And basically what I want to say that sustainable finance is quite a new and emerging topic still in the market. And for new things, to emerge further, to grow, you always need this collaboration between the peers to share and learn. And lately, I'm having a lot of conversations with our peers, for instance, in Georgia, in our region, or the colleagues in Kyrgyzstan or Uzbekistan, who are also, going through the same journey, developing the standards, supporting the issuers. And I believe like these kind of events, it's another way, to connect with your peers and learn something new and actually establish new connections. So I would just want to say thank you one more time to organizers, and I'll be happy, to stay connected and collaborate with them. Thank you.
For Istanbul Financial Center, since as a country we are part of Turkic states, there's that kind of collaboration over there, but we need to enrich it by doing one-to-one in connection with Astana Financial Centers. Also, Malta, we had some different organizations together. We also have an MOU with Qatar Financial Center, and we are planning to extend it with other financial centers because, sustainability is something that you cannot do by your own. You have to get connected because, when you get an air pollution in a country, it's become a worldwide event. So for the financial centers, I believe the collaboration is important and we have to embrace it and enlarge it. Thank you.
Yes, I totally agree. Collaboration is key also because here we're dealing with, we want to attract talent and it is scarce in this area. So it is imperative that we, as much as possible, collaborate and share good practices, knowledge, so that there is this synergy to make this happen. One thing that we've been working on recently was an initiative that has started in the UK on efficient, sustainable buildings, green buildings. So they did a very good job in the UK, and they started an initiative then within EU countries. And we got in touch to understand better what is the objective. So in fact, what they're doing is they want to create the same ecosystem in the EU. Then you have the different, characteristics of the markets, but you learn also from their experience, and it will be much easier than to implement, because they would have gone through the process already, and like that you save a lot of time, and they guide you on how to do it better. So it is key to collaborate with various centers and organizations globally.
No, maybe just that by definition, we are a global institution. We have a whole department actually called partnerships. So promoting collaboration not only among governments and government regulators, but also investors. So to understand, to train and teach investors to take advantage of these opportunities and what is needed, what is required to make the most of climate finance. So.
Thank you very much to all of you. I think I can say that these global financial centers do not see themselves as rivals, but they see themselves as partners in this network. So I would like to thank you for listening to this panel, and I would like to thank all of my distinguished panelists for their contributions. Thank you.